Margaret Sullivan had learned to expect nothing from family. At 76, the retired steelworker's widow had buried her husband, raised her daughter alone, and watched her Chicago neighborhood crumble around her. But she never expected her own son-in-law to declare war on her life savings. It started at what should have been a celebration. Tommy was running for city council, and the VFW Hall fundraiser was his big moment. Margaret sat quietly, watching her daughter Beth beam with pride as Tommy worked the crowd. Then came the announcement that changed everything. "I want to recognize someone special tonight," Tommy declared from the podium. "My mother-in-law Margaret knows the value of hard work and community. That's why she's contributing $10,000 to help us win this race." Margaret felt the world spin. $10,000 was money she didn't have, money she'd never agreed to give. As the crowd applauded, Beth leaned over with a warning whisper, "Don't make a scene, Mother. Tommy knows what's best." But Margaret Sullivan hadn't survived the steel mills and the union wars by staying quiet. The next morning, she marched to her credit union with one question. Where was her money going? The answer was devastating. For 6 months, her pension had been hemorrhaging small amounts directly into Tommy's campaign account. Every time he'd helped her with banking, every time he'd fixed her computer, he'd been systematically robbing her. Margaret's first stop was the place that had taught her how to fight, the old Union Hall. There she found Eddie Kowalski, her late husband's partner, and a man who'd taken on bigger bullies than one small-time politician. Eddie's response was swift and dangerous. One phone call to a friend at the Chicago Tribune, and suddenly Tommy's campaign wasn't just about city politics anymore. What Eddie's union connections uncovered about Tommy would expose a web of corruption reaching far beyond stolen pension money. But Margaret's real weapon wasn't the union or the newspaper. It was something far more personal and devastating. How does a widow with nothing but a pension and old union connections bring down a corrupt politician? And what did Margaret discover about her own family that changed everything? Find out in the full story below, where justice comes Chicago style, and family loyalty has a price no one saw coming.